have been like General Electric and made consumer grade products to make the world a better place. You made weapons. You made that choice. So, like, why are you complaining now? But that's neither here nor there. We're live with another episode of BS Busters. We got some good topics for today. Some good uns. Some good uns. Rockstar is funny. Because we're going to talk about Rockstar basically saying, yeah, guys, we're going to release a shitty version of of Red Dead Redemption. We're going to put it on the PS4 and the Switch, and we're going to charge you $50 for an old-ass game that's, I think it's almost 10 years old. Here, let me look up when Red Dead Redemption came out. Red Dead Redemption. A 13-year-old game. They're charging $50 for a 13-year-old game.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, I'll tell you something. Rockstar has balls of steel. I mean, there are porn stars who don't have balls that big.
Yeah, they're
let me put it this way.
I wanted to say something else, but I don't know how you'd feel about they're out of money. Don't say that. They're bull elephants, and elephants are packing. They're bull elephants are like, God damn, them some big balls. There's a male blue whale. The blue whale is the largest mammal on Earth. There's a male blue whale that's like, God damn, them balls are big. Okay? $50 for a 13-year-old game. It should be. It should be at least $20 or $30.
I would say, okay. I would say if they want to be cool, 40. 40 would be the sweet spot, because Red Dead Redemption, you're getting Red Dead Redemption and Undead Nightmare, which is like it's like two games for the price of one, and that's fair. Like $39.99 is fair. Yeah. 50, that's too much for a 13-year-old game.
That is crazy.
And it's not even like a remake in a new engine. It's the same game. They haven't added anything to it. And plus, it's missing multiplayer.
So the fools out there thought that they were just going to take the Red Dead 2 engine and remake the game in that engine. It's like, no, I would have taken... That would have been, A, a good idea, and B, it would have taken a few years.
Yeah, but the thing is, they've had 13 goddamn years. Look, this is not like the game came out 5 years ago and they've been busy doing other shit. They've been sitting on their ass, collecting all that GTA 5 money, and they couldn't hire a studio. Hey, here's our GTA 5 engine. It doesn't have to be the Red Dead 2 engine. It could be the GTA 5 engine and just remake the game using the GTA 5 engine. No problem. Nah. Fuck that. Nah.
That's... Yeah, I mean the whole thing about people have been looking forward to Red Dead Redemption coming to PC, and you could have done a PC port with maybe some extra bells and whistles, higher resolution, higher frame rate. Probably didn't need to do all that much to the graphics. Eventually, modders would have probably gotten to that eventually, but no, they're just gonna release it for PS4 and Switch. It's just kind of like you sit back and wonder. It's like, what? Why?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a small thing. Yeah. It's literally such a small thing. It's like, hey, just send this to, like, and here's the thing. Like I said, this isn't like a 10-year-old game. Okay, this is some stuff they could have done last week. Like, I mean, not last. This is something they could have done in the last few. They could have done this. They could have started this. Okay, just a little bit. Like, they could have gotten a small studio They could have gotten a small studio, paid them a decent amount of money, and just had them do this just a little bit at a time over 5 years, and be like, "Hey guys, guess what? We got a small studio, not Grove Street Games who fucked up GTA, no, not them, but someone who actually cared, you know, for like $5 and had the resources. 5 years, Red Dead Redemption, because it's an old game.
Yeah, exactly.
Nah, fuck that." But I don't think this is a Rockstar thing. I think this is a I personally think this is a 2K thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it probably is.
So anyway, yeah, they did that shit, and I don't know what to say to anyone except, this is the world we live in, folks.
Yeah.
I mean, and people are gonna be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this happened." I can believe it happened, cause it's Rockstar. I mean, look, listen. I knew Rockstar didn't give a shit. I knew Rockstar didn't give a shit when they let Grove Street Games fuck up GTA.
Yeah.
Like the games that basically made them what they are. Like, because Rockstar DMA Designs, but before they became Rockstar, they were DMA Designs, and they made shit like Lemmings, which isn't a bad game, but like most people today, unless you're like an old school PC gamer, you don't know fuck all about Lemmings. Okay, what you know from DMA Designs, you might know the original GTA, you might know not Body Harvest, what was it called? Armorines. Okay, you might know Armorines. But really, DMA Designs, their most noteworthy games were GTA 2, which went into the future, had like future weapons. But really, the game that made Rockstar what it is, GTA 3. GTA 3 on the PS2. That game created an entire genre.
Yeah.
And then you go back and play it, and you realize GTA 3 kind of sucks. It's not very good. Claude is a shitty character. The gameplay is very unpolished. GTA Vice City is a better game. Like, if GTA 3 is like a D plus C minus game, Vice City's like a B minus solid B game. Mechanically, like it plays better. The story is better. The acting is better. The story is better. Like, it's just overall a better game. The music is better. And then they were like, "Oh, well, how could they do better than this? How can they top GTA Vice City? GTA San Andreas."
Yeah.
Which, in my opinion, is like the best game GTA Rockstar ever made. Because San Andreas, like, first of all, Vice City just had you in a fictionalized Miami, basically. And not even all of Miami, just like the Strip, basically. And A1A, which is where like Route 1, which is like the touristy part of Route 1, and the beachfront, all that type of shit. They gave you 4 cities three cities and a desert to play in multiple small towns. Okay, you had Vinewood, which is Hollywood. You had San Fierro, which is San Francisco. You had shit, I forgot the other one. You had basically like the Las Vegas. So you basically had 2 cities in California and a city that's like kind of like in Las Vegas, and then you had the desert and multiple little towns and shit. That's a lot of space. Matter of fact, in terms of the amount of cities, San Andreas has more cities in it than GTA 5.
Yeah.
There's like 3 whole cities that are completely missing in GTA 5. Don't exist. Next gen hardware, like literally missing half the game of the PS2 title. Same location, half the goddamn game. Think about that.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. That is pretty crazy.
But, you know, these are the look, these are the same people. Oh, but you know, and let me put it, they gave those 3 games that made Rockstar into what they are to a studio that said, we have less than 23 people working at our studio. Give us the 3 games that made you into what you are, and we'll do it all with AI. What? And this is the same studio that people got pissed off when they did the re-releases for the PS3 and the Xbox 360. They said these re-releases are shit. There's content missing. They don't play the same. They play like trash. This is the studio you gave to port your 3 games.
Yeah.
And then took the old shit down so people couldn't play the old ways of doing it. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. And now you're like, oh, but they're gonna, you actually had, like, the Red Dead fans were like, oh, but they're actually gonna remake Red Dead Redemption? Are you insane?
Yeah. That's great. The fact that they just completely shut out the GTA trilogy, and you guys really thought, oh, they'll get it right. That they'll take the backlash. You know, they'll see that everybody's pissed off, and they will turn it around. They'll get it right. It's like uh, we've been dealing with a lot of crap from these companies since the 7th gen, and they didn't learn then. What in the hell do you think they're gonna learn now?
They're not. They're never gonna learn. They're never, at this point.
Shocked. That's what I'm shocked that people are shocked.
Yeah, at this point, I'm not even mad at Rockstar. I'm mad at the people who thought that they were going to do that shit. I'm like, are you fucking... Look, listen, I hate to say this because it's a pejorative and I don't like saying it. But, you know, I'm 37 and this used to be a pejorative when I was a kid. Are you fucking retarded? Are you serious? Like, hey, man, y'all went full retard. Hey, man. You went full retard. You went full retard. Okay? Because you have to be a special kind of unable to learn to not realize that these companies will get away with what you'll accept. Okay? If you will accept a subpar remake and buy it at full market price, then they don't have any incentive to remake a game properly. 0. Okay? And this is, listen, I'm sitting there looking at Rockstar fans. This is Nintendo fans too. If you went and bought Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze again at $60, they have no incentive. If you'll buy remakes that are inferior or that are equal to last gen or less than last gen at the same price, they have no incentive to do better because you'll accept mediocrity or less.
Yeah.
You know, like okay, let's put it, for those of you who don't understand the business aspect of it, let's make it a little personal. If you're dating a girl and she fucks around on you and you accept it and you don't break up with her after she does it once, and you just keep on taking her back, she's learned that there are no consequences to her actions, and therefore she does not have to change.
Yeah.
Or, ladies, you're dating a guy and he fucks around on you, and you take him back after you caught him fucking around. He's learned there's no consequences to his actions. Therefore, he's going to keep on doing it.
Yeah, you're letting the fox back into the hen house. What are you doing?
And then you're like, oh, why'd he do that? Because you allowed him to do it. Now, I'm not saying that, oh, you deserve to be fucked around on. You deserve to be taken advantage of. If you work for a company that is doing wage theft, where they're not paying you your money, even though you worked overtime, if you let them do that and you don't fight back or say, fuck this, I'm going someplace else, they'll keep on doing it because you're allowing it. If you allow bad behavior and don't correct it, it becomes a habit. And they'll keep on doing it. Anyway, so what are your thoughts on this? I'll be right back. I gotta go do something. You can espouse your thoughts on this, sir. Kenoshi?
Oh, sorry, I just have to wait for a second.
Yeah, give your thoughts on this. I gotta go get something real quick. I'll be right back, like a minute.
All right. Well, I think, like I said, I don't know how these people are surprised. I don't know why they keep coming back. They keep coming back shocked by all of this. It's absolutely crazy. But it's what it is. I guess. All these people are ever gonna learn. We're just gonna keep going through this whole song and dance when it comes to these games. When it comes to these companies, it's like they burn you over and over and over and over again, and you just refuse to learn. Yeah, and this game's gonna sell. People are gonna buy it. Play it on PS4, Switch. It's gonna sell, and they're gonna see the money rise, and they're gonna be like, well, let's not be that bad. Made $2 billion off this game. What else can we re-release? What else can we do a half-ass port of?
Yep. Just do the bare minimum. They'll take it. Just do just enough. Just enough. Anyway, let's move on to the next topic. Squenix. Squenix is or as it's properly called, Square Enix or Square Enix. I call it Squenix. Because I remember back in the day there was SquareSoft, and then now there's Square Enix. Now SquareSoft made some great games, and Enix made some great games, and when their powers combined, they became a big house of shit.
Yeah.
It's like that Captain Planet. Let our powers combine. Bull shit. And by your powers combined, I am Captain Bullshit. Because that's what we've been getting from Square Enix for 20 years now since they merged. Almost 20 years, maybe a little bit over. Yeah, you would think that two of the greatest RPG houses in Japan coming together would equal, oh my god, there's gonna be some cool shit in here. Nope. Nope. Mediocrity and bullshit.
As per usual. As per usual.
Yep, mediocrity and bullshit. So basically, Square Enix had a 79% profit drop. So basically, what that means is, while they're still making money, it's not nearly the amount of money they thought they were going to make.
Yeah.
Like they're still they're still having revenue in excess of expenses incurred due to just business expenses. But like, let's say they thought they were going to be making uh, $100. Sorry, $1. Sorry, $100 over um, for every dollar they were spending on whatever they were doing, they're only making like 21. So that's not good. Um, but I mean, they deserve it. Square Enix hasn't done anything to make money. Like, all they do is continuously re-release the same shit over and over again, or they play it safe and microtransaction the shit out of everything. Now they're saying that the reason they're losing money is because of Final Fantasy and mobile gaming. They say mobile gaming is, it's due to competition for mobile gaming. I don't think that's the case. Um, and I'll tell you why. I don't think it's the case primarily because, um, like, Activision Blizzard King made a lot of money with King. Like 60% of their revenue generated was the King portion, which is mobile gaming. All these mobile companies are making money. Now, to be fair, mobile games are very much like like if you have 100 mobile games, top earning mobile games in an app store, maybe 5 of them are actually making the lion's share of that money. But if 20 of those games are all put out by one publisher, and all of them are getting like 0.5%. If 20 of those games are getting 0.5% of the revenue generated by the top 100 games in the Google App Store, that's still a lot of fucking money.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like I said, this is Square Enix, and Square Enix is a shitty company. I mean, I don't really have any other way to put it. They are a shitty, 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 shitty company.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what? That port of Final Fantasy 16 might happen a lot quicker than expected if they're not proud of their sales. It's just like, I mean, it's your idiotic idea to put it on one platform. It's like, it's not, people weren't gonna, people who were hoping the game came out on PC weren't gonna, you know, shell out $500 to play one freaking game. Those days are over. And buying consoles for one game, I don't think a lot of people are. I don't think a lot of people are doing that, unless, unless it's just like time. It's just more or less a brand loyalty thing. Like somebody buys a console day one.
I mean, I think that it's just the market has changed. Like, here's the thing. Here's what Square Enix doesn't realize. Final Fantasy used to be an event game. All right, you got 3 per console generation, and each one was like Final Fantasy under the Hironobu Sakaguchi reign was like you got 3 games per console gen, and each game used familiar elements, but everyone told a different story. Right, like Final Fantasy 1 is very much like a group of heroes go save the world. Final Fantasy 2 is dark as fuck. It's like got people dying, empires invading. It's dark as fuck. Final Fantasy 3 is like a refinement of Final Fantasy 1. Okay, it's a refinement. Instead of having you choose your classes in the beginning of the game and then you can class up halfway through like in Final Fantasy 1, Final Fantasy 3 is you get different classes with each crystal, and then you can change your classes and level those up in order to become more powerful, and etc. etc. Final Fantasy IV is where they switched it entirely. Where like Final Fantasy IV is the first RPG that had this epic grand story.
Yeah.
All right. Final Fantasy V was a refinement of Final Fantasy III, where they had even more classes and you could build your own party and all that type of shit. Then you get Final Fantasy VI, which was like a refinement of Final Fantasy IV, where you had an even grander story than Final Fantasy IV, and a female protagonist. People forget that. Like Square Enix is like, oh, Lightning is the first time we've had a female protagonist. Really? Because you had a female protagonist in 6. You had a female protagonist in 10. You had a female protagonist in 12. I mean, it's not the first time. Yeah. Shit, Parasite Eve was a PS1 game. You had a female protagonist in that game.
Yeah.
Stop being stupid.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just kind of like, when I see this, I'm just like, I can't. I see people do this shit and they're just like, oh, well, I'm getting tired of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I mean, they've done this several times before. I remember the biggest time they did it with that Tomb Raider game. 6 million wasn't enough. I don't know what they're hoping for. You know, again, they probably shouldn't have taken Sony's money, and they should have just made this game a multi-plat from the very beginning. Maybe they would have fared a lot better. But yeah, whatever. I mean, it's not like we didn't see this coming.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. But I don't know, but these people are getting on my nerves.
Yeah.
Because but they deserve what they get.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm going to say. They deserve what they get.
Anyway, what's the next topic?
The next topic is we're in the same vein of Square Enix. Apparently, remember how Square Enix CEO, the new CEO, said that Final Fantasy 16 was like the rumblings were Final Fantasy 16 was not meeting expectations behind the scenes before the game came out. They're like the pre-orders aren't meeting expectations. then the game came out. They're like, oh no. Actually, it is meeting sales expectations. Well, it turns out, nah. The rumblings were correct. It's slow adoption rates, etc., etc. And I have the link right here. I'll read it because this is some interesting shit right here.
All right, story time.
Yep. Okay, so while a month ago Square Enix said that Final Fantasy 16 sales were extremely strong, air quotes there, after selling 3 million copies of the PS5 exclusive in a week, that momentum appears to have trailed off significantly. As of Square Enix's latest earnings report, while net sales increased, operating profit dropped 79% from 14.4 billion to 3.3 billion. So that's the equivalent of like 1 billion to like 300 million. That's not good. Now, during a post-earnings call to analysts, as reported by Bloomberg, Final Fantasy 16 is likely to blame for much of this, citing, quote, slow adoption of the PS5, with previously constricted sales of the console due to supply shortages, even if Final Fantasy's attach rate to PS5 itself is good. The other issue is that Final Fantasy 16 cost a whole lot of money to make, which is what's hammering operating income.
Yeah.
Let me continue with this. There are a number of stories you can extract from this. While Sony and Square Enix's relationship has been strong for ages, and Final Fantasy has a storied history with PlayStation, it now seems it was not the best call to make Final Fantasy 16 a PS5 exclusive. And truly, a PS5 exclusive, not just a brand or console exclusive. Final Fantasy 16 did not release a lower spec version for the PS4. It did not launch on PC at the same time, though a PC version should be coming later. And of course, it didn't launch on the Xbox Series X or S as a result of this deal. But when then you end up with a single platform whose growth was slowed by supply shortages, even if overall the PS5 is a success. The other issue could be the game itself. While it was generally well received, some players didn't like the action-oriented turn from the series. And if you wanted some recent evidence that there's still a market for turn-based, team-based RPGs of old, look no further than the absolutely wild success of Baldur's Gate 3, which has now cracked Steam's all-time concurrent player top 10 with its hardcore traditional roots in the genre. Rarely.
Pause for a second. You brought up Baldur's Gate. You brought up Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
And you had this mantra about Final Fantasy 16 about how they need to captivate Western audiences because Western audiences like third person action games. Then Baldur's Gate 3 comes out and it's taken the world by storm. How the irony in all of this.
The irony. Yeah, it's what it is look, man, let's keep it 100%. It's bullshit. Okay? It's total and complete bullshit. All right? What it is that Square Enix has been doing this for years. They take their IP, they dumb it down for a baser audience, not realizing that the reason people like Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest is that they're JRPGs. People okay, the reason you go to a sushi restaurant is because you want sushi. You're not going to a sushi restaurant for pizza.
Yeah.
Okay? Fucking hell. Anyway, rarely a quarter goes by without Square Enix lamenting the sales of some game or another for failing to meet their often too high expectations. But while in the past, that's been Tomb Raider or Marvel's Avengers or Guardians of the Galaxy, for this to happen with a massive mainline Final Fantasy game is not good. I would rebut that with a single thing, but Square Enix already seems to have realized that PS5 only releases may not be the best idea in the future. They recently announced a large-scale partnership with Xbox to bring games to that platform, though obviously that won't be exclusive. PlayStation, Xbox, and hopefully PC releases should help solve problems like this Final Fantasy 16 issue, but that may be a long-term project. Yeah, let's keep it real. Final Fantasy 16 is not a mainline Final Fantasy game. It doesn't have, yes, it has the summons and it has, Ifrit and Shiva and Rama and all that shit, but it's not a you don't really have a party. You don't really go from town to town getting weapons and shit like that. It's more of a platinum game with light RPG elements and an action game. There's nothing wrong with that, but to call it a mainline Final Fantasy game, bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's why the people who wanted a spin-off for Final Fantasy, they got it. The people who are waiting for a mainline, big, huge, massive Final Fantasy, they're still waiting. They haven't gotten it yet.
Yeah.
That's why the shit didn't sell.
Yep. Yep. And they were Nintendo's a unicorn when it comes to when it comes to this. People buying their console for their exclusives. People aren't as enthralled when it comes to Sony or even Microsoft exclusives to go out and buy their consoles in droves.
Yeah, I mean, no, I take that back. Starfield is going to sell a lot of Xboxes.
Yeah, I think Starfield will be an exception.
Okay, but here's the thing. Okay, the day of Final Fantasy being a system seller ended when Square Enix became Square Enix. It went from being Squaresoft to Square Enix.
Yeah.
That's not a thing for them anymore because the quality of their games aren't a thing anymore. They aren't. Like I was looking at my Discord, not my Discord, my Discus history, and I was on this site, and this guy's like, "Yeah, well, I like this Final Fantasy." I'm like, "Yeah, but Square Enix doesn't make those caliber like the RPGs of yesteryear are critically better than the shit we get now. Most of them. Okay?
Yeah.
Like Square Enix ain't making games like Chrono Trigger anymore. They have not made a game that is even close to surpassing Chrono Trigger in terms of critical success. Yeah. They don't do it anymore. They can't make games like Final Fantasy VI anymore.
Yeah.
They made Final Fantasy 16. Final Fantasy 16 is a fine game. I've seen people play it. I'm like, oh, that looks like fun. But I want to play a Final Fantasy where you go from town to town, village to village, city to city, go out in the open world, do side quests and shit like that. They don't want to do that anymore. It's too resource intensive because they have to focus on graphics.
Yeah. Yeah, and and going back to Baldur's Gate, well, the shows, if you focus heavily, more on art style than graphics, you can still get a really nice looking game. I don't. I just. Is this what people really actually want, or is this what they, or is this what are they telling us? This is what we should want.
Yeah. I mean, I think that Square Enix thought they thought they knew the market. They didn't know the market. And now they're in a situation where they're in a situation now where they just don't know what they can do. They're kind of between a rock and a hard place right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But serves them right because they got in bed with Sony. I wish these people would stop getting in bed with Sony. So, think of all the JRPG. Sony used to be behind JRPG studios. They aren't anymore. They don't give a fuck about JRPG studios anymore. So why in the world?
They're more interested in games as a service.
And Western games. They care about Western games. Not realizing that Western gamers like RPGs too, because look at Baldur's Gate 3.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
We like RPGs too. You don't have to be, oh, it's got to be this. No, we like it all.
The original Final Fantasy stole a lot of monster ideas from D&D. So,
yeah, it did. The goblins, Ahrimans are basically beholders. Marlboros, are basically all the creatures. Corals are basically shadow stalkers. They're these cat things with tentacles that can teleport. Final Fantasy cribbed so did Dragon Quest. They cribbed so much shit from D&D, And now it's come full circle because D&D's more hardcore than Final Fantasy these days. And all because, oh no, we need to make it more accessible. People, look, listen, okay? Some people like to read comics. Comics are more accessible for some people because they're shorter and, you know, there's like graphics and shit. But some people like to read novels, okay?
Yeah.
Some people like to sit down with a big ass book and flip through the pages and smell that musty ass old paper and read, okay?
Yeah.
That's what some people like. Some people, yeah, a lot of people like to listen to CDs and stream, but other people like to listen to vinyl.
Yeah.
And let me let you in on a little secret. Vinyl outsold CDs this year. And last year as well. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
So there is a market for people who like hardcore JRPGs. And they're completely ignoring it, trying to reach to the people who aren't going to buy their shit anyway.
Yeah.
It's like Nintendo. It's like, hey, we need to appeal to the most hardcore gamers. Okay, cool. They're not going to buy your shit anyway, but go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's...
It's like when Sony and Microsoft try to appeal to ultra casuals. They're not going to buy your shit. The ultra casual market is Nintendo's market. The semi-core, like the semi-hardcore market is Sony's. The hardcore market is Xbox's, okay?
Yeah.
Because those Xbox fanboys are fucking hardcore, man. You gotta be hardcore to love that piece of shit. No, I'm joking. I have an Xbox. I have an Xbox. I need to stop saying that.
I mean, the thing about the Xbox, I think if you... out of all the consoles, at least the Series S, and, you know, the Series X, if you want a little more, juice, it's probably the best deal you can get if you get Game Pass.
Yeah, I got mine. Came with a year Game Pass. Plus, I got another 6 months from upgrading my PC. So, like, I've got like 16 months of Game Pass. I'm sorry, 18 months of Game Pass, and it ends. It's gonna end in like February next year, and then I'll add another 6. I'll activate the other 6 months, so I'll have, you know, a decent amount of time with Game Pass. I like Game Pass. I think that it's, you know, it could be better, but it's fine for what it is.
Yeah, yeah. But the thing about Final Fantasy 16 is, you know, they were just, you know, banking, because I've heard people run interference for this game, saying it's supposed to be a slow grind. You know, this is a marathon, not a sprint. You know, people will pick it up with PlayStation 5s. People. It's not the 90s anymore. Like, people don't, you know, drop, you know, hundreds of dollars for 1 or 2 games.
Yeah, let me put it this way. The way I feel about it is like this, okay? There used to be a time where, like, okay, Final Fantasy VII was that bellwether game where people bought PS ones to play Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
Okay. Final Fantasy VIII, people didn't buy a PS1 to play Final Fantasy VIII or 9. If they had a PlayStation, they would get it. But they weren't going out of their way to get. You know, if they had the system, they'd get the game. They didn't get the system to play the game. No one bought a PS2 for Final Fantasy X.
Yeah.
The reason Dragon Quest VIII was so successful was that it came with that demo for Final Fantasy XII.
Yeah.
So it piggybacked off of something else.
I mean, a lot of the reasons people buy consoles is A, because their friends are on it, or B, it's because it's either Xbox or PlayStation.
Yeah, they have brand loyalty, which to me, as a Nintendo gamer, doesn't mean shit because, you know, brand loyalty hasn't meant shit if you're a Nintendo gamer since the 5th gen. Because all of Nintendo's third-party support basically went down the shitter with the arrival of the Xbox. I mean, with Sony.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how certain people, spin all of this. That's pretty much all I have to say about that.
I mean, I could see it. Here's the way I feel about it. And I know some people are gonna get mad when they hear this, and I don't give a fuck if you get mad. I don't. Yeah. Frankly speaking, I don't give a shit if people get mad when I say something that I feel has evidence to back up what I'm saying. You might not like it, but like, here's the thing: I don't say something unless I've actually put thought into it, like, or some form of research, or deliberation on it. I don't just spew shit out there. I think that I think that the market, Square Enix is gonna have, it's got two roads. They have two roads they can go down. They can either be downsize, which they're probably gonna fire people, and start making smaller games with tamed budgets, but that are good. Is that happening? I don't know. It's Square Enix. They're stupid. Or they're going to double down and try and keep it going. I don't know. I don't think... Personally, I think it's going to be a lot of column A, a little of column B. Like, they're going to fire a lot of people and probably get under the auspices. They're probably going to go with their hat in hand to Xbox and see if they can get paid.
Yeah.
But that's my own personal opinion. You got any thoughts on it?
No, like I said, my final thoughts. There were. It's gonna be interesting to see how people spin all of this one. They were defending the accusations, and I always was skeptical of the whole thing.
Well,
Of the
that's fair. No, what I was going to say is that's fair. The first thing that I would say is the thing that made me think that they were right, like the people who said, yeah, it's underselling, is that, like, how quickly everyone, like Square Enix, was to get their little mouthpieces out there to defend it. Because normally, if it's not true, they say, we have no comment. We have no further, we don't comment on speculation. Yeah. But the fact that they had people saying shit, hey, that's not true. Like, you know the old saying, a struck dog will holler, an empty can rattles.
Yeah.
Why are you defending yourself when people, if it's not true? If something's not true, you'll just be like, oh, that shit's not true, and you keep on running. But yeah, like I said, I don't have any. I have no doubt in my mind that here's what I think. What hurt this game was it was on the PS5, and people are gonna say, oh well, it's slow adoption. The PS5 has like 95 million. If it doesn't have 95 million install base, it's got 100 million. Bullshit that it doesn't have the install base. So here's the thing. They were thinking that they were going to get 10, 15, 20 million units sold. And I'm like, it's not a traditional Final Fantasy game. People like traditional Final Fantasy games. That's what they like about it. They're traditional.
Yeah.
You're not like Nintendo, where Nintendo can put out non-traditional Zelda games and people still eat that shit up.
Yeah.
Okay.
It worked. It worked for Nintendo.
It worked, but Nintendo is a different beast because first of all, whether you like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom or not, you can't deny that they have a certain level of quality. And they've had the same people working on these games for the last 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
They didn't have a brain drain. Like, you've got different people working on these games every fucking console gen. Final Fantasy 15 was trash.
Yeah.
And they doubled down on it. Like, if you didn't like the action-y, almost lack of a party aspect you had in Final Fantasy 15, got worse with 16.
Yeah.
They doubled down on the bullshit.
Well, I will give 16 this. It does look nicer. Final Fantasy 15 is ugly.
Yeah, it looked bland. Also, the main character was just annoying. It's like, I don't... First of all, like, there was a mutual friend of the podcast who's like, yeah, I have a friend who worked on that game. I'm like, I don't give a shit. It looks terrible. Also, I mean, it looks like a gay bachelor party. Because what straight man is going to his wedding and hanging out in a tent by himself with 3 other dudes? I'm sorry. That's just kind of... How can I put this nicely? It's a little fruity. It's feeling a little fruity. Anyway, the game didn't do well. It's flying car. That game broke the guy. The guy who made that game quit and went to do something else. Do you know how bad development of a game has to be where the guy who made the game is like, fuck it, I'm done?
That game broke its budget twice.
Well, more than that.
It was originally supposed to be a Final Fantasy 13 spin-off game. How many people remember
No, it wasn't. It was supposed to be Final Fantasy 13. Because...
No, it was called Final Fantasy Versus 13.
Yeah, it was supposed to be versus... It was supposed to be Final Fantasy 13. And then the guy who was going to make it left the company. So, like, it was in the skunk works when Hironobu Sakaguchi was still working at Final Fantasy, at Square Enix. Then it was kind of like, like hidden away. Then when they released that demo, Sakaguchi resigned after that, or he was whatever. They got rid of him. So it probably had a budget for that. Then the new guy, like they were trying. That game broke its budget like 4 or 5 times.
So that game was like 10, 15 years in development. Then.
Yes, it was in development hell.
God,
it wasn't 2 times. Oh, no. That game had a busted budget, like, because every 2 or 3 years, they would remake the game. They would start from scratch. They'd throw everything out and remake the game.
Wow.
Not everything, but they'd throw away, like, 70% of what the people made and go back to, like, 20, 30%. So, yeah, that game was... And then finally, the guy and his team... who made Final Fantasy 15 made this game. And then they said, you guys, it took too long for you to make Final Fantasy 15. We want you to go make Forspoken. I actually have that game. I like it. I thought it was pretty good. Here's the problem with that game. Square Enix wanted to market that game, and they got the absolute worst way to market it ever. Because once you play it, it's like, oh, this is actually a pretty good game. The marketing completely tanked that game.
Yeah.
Like they really did not. What they should have done was just said, hey, here's this world where a cataclysm happened, and this girl has been isekai'd into this world, and she's got to find a way back home. But in order to do that, she's got to help these people, and then like have like little creature things like, this is the so and so of this, and this, look at this monster. Nah, just some bullshit. A generic teenager with attitude, dialogue, and shitty ass millennial. Sorry, not even millennial. Shitty ass Generation Z. Catchphrase. It wasn't even humor, because I've worked with Generation Z people who have a sense of humor. This shit wasn't funny. I wasn't laughing. I was like, this is not funny at all.
Not all humor is good humor.
No. Truly good humor, like a fart joke, if executed correctly, is always going to be funny.
I mean, some people just have a bad sense of humor.
Like, okay, I got one for you. Okay. trying to remember it properly. Okay. What is dark brown, 6 inches long, and has 2 nuts?
Oh boy, I have no idea.
An almond joy.
Oh. Yeah.
See, people just, some people just think dirty. They just think dirty all the time. But like basically, if it's about the punchline. But my point is this, right? People just kind of just be doing shit, and I'm like, stop doing that, you know. But anyway, but yeah, so but enough about that. Yeah, Square Enix has been fucking up, and as we knew they would, because they can't help themselves. Square Enix has been shit for years now, and they won't learn their lesson. Speaking of people learning their lessons, that was kind of a interesting segue. Avowed, that game that's set in the same universe as Pillars of Eternity, created by Obsidian. Avowed was going to be a multiplayer game.
Oh, lucky they changed their mind on that.
Yeah, they changed their mind 8 months into development.
Oh no.
Yeah. So here's the story. It might be interesting to hear. Obsidian Entertainment has been celebrating its 20th anniversary, 2 decades in which the studio has created some of the most beloved and intricate adventure/RPG titles ever made. Its current project is Avowed, a game that's designed to be compared to Skyrim but is going for depth over breadth, where Obsidian really shines, in quotes. And in 5th and final part of an anniversary documentary, the studio's creatives reveal that for quite a while it had a multiplayer element. When I look back at 20 years, there's decisions of mine that I feel really good about, and there's decisions that I feel not so good about, said Fergus Urquhart, Obsidian's studio head, first spotted by Games Radar, in parentheses. One of the things where I really pushed was that Avowed was going to be multiplayer, and I kept on that for a long time, and I know in the end it was the wrong decision to keep on pushing on it. To keep on pushing on it. Okay. Urquhart says that in this stage of development, Obsidian was still independent. It is now owned by Microsoft. So one of its concerns was how it would be received by prospective publishers. Publishers like games with a multiplayer element, so having that as part of as part of the Avowed pitch would make it more attractive to the bean counters. We're asking for 50, 60, 70, 80 million. You've got to have something interesting to talk about, and multiplayer made it interesting. Problem was that multiplayer rubbed the wrong way against what Obsidian is good at, and was forcing the studio to rethink how it would have to handle aspects that work beautifully in single player, but wouldn't translate into a multiplayer context. After working on it for a little bit, we realized that we weren't focused on the things that we're best at, said Justin Britch, head of development at Obsidian. And so we made a pivot on the game basically to refocus and make sure that it was, at the end of the day, an Obsidian game and not something different. Okay, I'm all in for amazing single player experience. For another amazing single player experience from Obsidian. And honestly, RPGs are the one genre where I'm not at all interested in co-op. A major focus now, as Obsidian's Kerry Patel told PC Gamer after the game's announcement, is on the companion characters that will be part of the experience and follow the player through the story in the world. The companions are a huge part of the experience and draw for me both as a player and as a developer, said Patel. One thing we wanted to do with Avowed was make sure that the companions really felt integral to the story. In some games, they're optionally recruitable, but in Avowed, they're deeply tied to the story, tied to your party. We really wanted to create this sense that you're in this big wild frontier. You're going on this adventure of discovery, and you have this small but tight-knit crew with you. The sense you're adventuring through the wilds together, sharing in the discovery and the danger. These people are just as much a part of your story as the larger events that you're getting in the middle of. Obsidian's been upfront about the fact that while the Elder Scrolls comparisons are inevitable, it's not going for something as large as and freeform as that, which in my opinion is all for the good. Patel calls it a true Obsidian RPG. And given it's made some of my favorite RPGs ever, that sounds like just a ticket. Avowed is due to release next year. So clearly the reason we haven't heard for Avowed is because they had to spend money to basically get that game to where it needs to be.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that because I'd rather have it be good than to be some bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we get a lot of bullshit these days. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, we don't want this to be like Redfall.
Oh yeah.
Redfall, where a studio made a game that was not in any way, shape, or form something they should have been making.
Yeah.
And when it came out, it was some bullshit. And everyone's like, "Oh, this game's terrible," but they weren't. That's not really what they're supposed. That's not what they're good at making, though. Like, why are you surprised that it's not good?
Yeah.
I don't get that. Like, oh, this is terrible. Well, that's not really what they're really good at making. It's not. They make like this studio made like Dishonored 1 and 2. Like they make single player stealth simulators. Like they would be really good at making a thief game. Like that, but you want to make them into have them make a squad based looter shooter with vampires, and you're surprised the game is shit. Hey, guess what? We're gonna have the Legend of Zelda team make a Mega Man game, but we don't make those types of. Shut the fuck up! You're gonna make a Mega Man game, but that's not what we do.
Yeah.
So this was the last topic before we get to free topic or hot takes. Do you have anything you want to add before we move on to the last bit of the cast, sir?
Nope.
Let's see. Eric Maverick has a comment. He says it's good to hear. It's good. I did hear on comments online about Square's inspiration. Do you know what's with the company? I don't know. Oh, he says don't know what's with the company. I don't know either. I know that Square Enix used, like, when I was a kid, Squaresoft, like any game that came out of Squaresoft was gonna be something I enjoyed. Like, even if it wasn't a traditional JRPG. Like, I got into emulation because I liked playing Squaresoft games, and some of them never came to America, like Bahamut Lagoon, or Live Alive, or Front Mission Gun Hazard, or, shit like that. So, when I got those games, Final Fantasy 2 and 3 never came to America on the NES.
Yeah.
Like, so I had to emulate it because it never came to America. Final Fantasy 5 didn't come to America till much later. They had that dual release on the PlayStation 1 where it came with Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy 5. So, like Squaresoft made amazing JRPGs and video games. And then they merged with Square Enix, and now they make shit. Like, absolute shit. And have unrealistic sales goals. So I don't know. I don't know, Eric. I don't know. But that's the end. Anything you want to add, sir, before we move on to the final bit?
No. No.
All right. So here we go. Last bit. Unpopular opinion, aka hot takes. Go ahead, sir.
Not everything has to be the hot game of the week. I know Baldur's Gate came out. A lot of developers are upset about it.
They butthurt. They totally butthurt.
Not every RPG has to be Baldur's Gate. Not every action adventure needs to be Breath of the Wild or Elden Ring. Like it's all right, guys. Like it's gonna be okay.
No, it's not. Have you seen those people crying like little bitches?
Oh,
Larian Studios broke in my house, slept with my wife, and ate the last bit of Cheerios and the last bit of milk I had. And then they laughed the whole time and ran out saying, "I got the clap and I gave your wife it too." That's what they did. Yeah. Those bastards. Oh no, by the way, your daughter's not yours. I'm being facetious when I say that.
Yeah, the whole drama behind the game is absolutely insane. You know, they were able to make a high quality game without microtransactions, um, and you know, apparently for these companies, it's just way too much to ask for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why. Well, I mean, obviously from obviously greed. Um, you know, uh, if you want a simple answer, but yeah, I've been following some of the drama, and I'm just kind of like, wow. I didn't think it'd get people to react this crazily. This crazy. It's like, yeah, this is not everybody's going to want to play a game like this with that's this open ended. Like nobody's not everybody's gonna be into it, especially with a lot of the various complexities. How careful you have to be in certain situations. I think I was about to take something. I was about to take something from a corpse, and somebody got mad. Was about to get arrested. Arrested. End up in a fight.
And
Ended
let
up
me
in a
guess, you
fight.
rolled charisma check. Hey man, it was my bad, man. I'm putting it back. I was just man, I didn't know. Hey, be cool, like Pulp Fiction, bitch. Be cool, bitch.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. But the game allows you to save state
Oh
save
yeah,
a lot. So
yeah. Anytime you
that's
play a
pretty
game
cool.
like this, you got to be able to save scum so that
Yeah,
oh man, I wonder if I do this, what'll happen. That's every like
yeah,
if you play Fallout New Vegas, which those games are kind of based off of tabletop RPGs. Any type of tabletop RPG based game, Temple of Elemental Evil, Arcanum, um, Vampire, The Masquerade, like any of those games, you kind of have to have multiple saves to like, well, what if if I approach this way and do it this way, what'll happen? It's like you got to do that. That's half the fun.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
why
The game
Dragon Age
allows
2 is
you.
shit because like when you do that, you find out no matter what choice you make, you're still fucked.
Yeah, it's really good about allowing you to. It gives you the freedom to experiment.
Yep.
But again, that you know, not everybody has to make a game like this. Like,
I wish
I've
they
seen
would though.
yeah, that'd be kind of nice.
I
It'd be
wish
kind of
more
nice for
companies were ambitious with how they made their games within limitations because I think they're using like Unreal or something, but some engine like that. But they are very much like this game is very ambitious for what they're doing, and it's not ultra ambitious because it's like level 12, but it's still kind of
yeah, yeah, uh, yeah. That's kind of my hot take slash free topic. It's just like you know, these developers. I don't know what the hell happened these past few years, but yeah, you guys just need to chill. You guys just need to chill. It's like not everybody is out, expecting you to make the next Baldur's Gate like game. Uh, and the thing is, it's a lot of work. Yeah, obviously, people don't want to have to do more work than they have to. That's just how human beings can be sometimes, and they just it's like oh shit, if this becomes the new trend, the amount of development time, the amount of energy, because obviously that script, millions of lines, well, maybe not millions, but definitely hundreds of thousands of lines of dialogue. Everybody talks in that game. Like, majority of the NPCs are voice lines,
yeah.
so that couldn't have been cheap.
No,
Um,
but I mean, you have to remember this game was $60 in early access, which means they were getting it was sold as a AAA game in early
mm,
access.
yeah,
So they were getting revenue ahead of it being finished. They had people who paid to be beta testers.
yeah, yeah. Which you know they were able to get away with. I don't know if any of these other companies would be able to get away with that though. I think if EA or Ubisoft tried something like that, I think people would there would be an uproar because I think Larian is seen more as a higher tier indie developer versus these monolithic publishers. I don't know. What do you think?
Could you repeat that?
I would say that Larian Studios is seen more as an indie studio. Obviously, if
Larger
if
capacity, yeah. Well, they are
larger
seen more as
capacity.
as an indie studio because you have to remember, like everyone's always like, well, the Luminous engine, not the the Luminous engine that's used by Bethesda is trash. But Divinity 1 and 2 were made in the same engine and they don't have nearly the same amount of
Problems, yeah.
problems. So really, the real problem
Right.
is the real problem is just, it's
Quality control.
yeah, it's just quality control, really. It's, you know, oh well. But that's all I get. Anything else?
Yeah. No, that's it.
All right.
That's your Fuka.
Here's my free topic. It's about gaming. I've said this before. I've parroted it. I'll parrot it again. Gamers, stop accepting mediocrity. Please stop accepting mediocrity. Just stop. Just be better. Be better. Um, if a company is doing things you don't like, don't hang in there until they turn it around because as long as you keep on buying it, they'll keep on selling it. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
It ain't getting better. If you keep on accepting bullshit, they will keep on doing bullshit. If you stop it, if you nip it in the bud, it loses its power.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's it. Uh, anything you want to pimp out before we wrap things up, sir?
Yeah, Project Council, Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you there.
That's good. Thank you. This is Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor BS Busters. I'm glad to be on another cast. Oh shit. Oh man. Glad to be on another cast. Today was a good day. Um, we have this podcast every Wednesday, 7:30 to typically 8:30, sometimes 9. If we're joined by another panelist. And we talk about news, pop culture, all that type of fun shit. Every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 8:30 to 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you would like to get in touch with the channel, you can reach me in the Discord. There's a link to that in the description under this video. Or you can reach me at mrredfoxbsbuster at gmail.com. And I'm in the process of getting on Threads, so you can reach me there too. That's the end of the cast. Peace, good night, and play your games.